Welcome to the Feel Better, Be Better show. Today, Kate and Nevada will answer your questions and introduce new topics designed to help feel better and be better. These are raw conversations, but they will make a difference.
All right, guys, welcome to another edition of the Feel Better, Be Better podcast. We had some very interesting things we went over today. We hit on a little bit of, real life?
Real life, how sports prepares you for real life.
Yeah, we talked about loans, perfect for this type stuff. What else we talk about?
Loans, being resilient.
Yeah, I don't remember. There's a lot of stuff we talked about. We
Took a random tangent on meal prep in there.
My whole life is tangent. We did a meal prep. Yeah, I mean, we did a couple different things. So, hey, listen up, enjoy, have a good one. Hope you guys enjoy it. All right, so let's see here. I think you had a very interesting thing happen this week that would basically demonstrate how sports in particular, in your history of it, from being a youngster to high school to college to adult life and everything, led into a scenario that allowed you to handle a very intense, very difficult situation on your own. I was going to see if you wanted to, what you thought of that. Because, I think some of the trials and tribulations you get from sports helped on some of these trials and tribulations you had in this issue in your real life.
It really did. I don't know, it made, for background, looking at buying rental properties, and with that comes finding lending for that, which can be difficult and frustrating in 1,000,001 steps.
Oh, I know. It's like when we talk about it all the time, everybody just is like, oh, yeah, they wouldn't approve me. And I'm like, if I can even count how many times I have not been approved, and people are like, oh, must have bad credit. No, not at all. It's just when you're doing that kind of lending, it's sometimes you're not going to get loaned. You could be the best scenario, and they'll be like, oh, we'll give you, this much. You're like, that's not even close to what I got last time. It's like, well, that's what we got.
Well, like you said, they go through phases of when they are lending money and when they're tighter with it, and it might not have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, no, was looking at a couple different options. Had the opportunity to do a 15-year note, but things were going to be really tight. And so you sent me to somebody who could potentially do a 20-year note. And they straight up told me no. They said, well, we can do this much, which was significantly less. And I was like, there's no way to be able to
you would have
swing
to
that.
come out of pocket like $100,000, which you have sitting around, right?
Oh, yeah, all over the place. Couldn't you tell?
Just check one of your bank accounts.
Independently wealthy here. Yeah. So,
it was a really not great offer.
It was not. It was so bad you had to check the numbers for me because it was like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
And knowing going in ahead of time, like, the numbers should have worked way better than what they were calculating. So there was a huge discrepancy in that.
Well, yeah, but the messages you were sending me, I could see like your struggle, your frustration, your, oh my gosh, this is all going to fall apart.
Well, yeah, because I wanted it done.
Yeah, well, that's what you're going in. I'm telling you it should be fine.
Yeah.
But I could just tell from your messages that it was kind of more of like, this isn't even close to what we talked about.
Yeah. It was one of those, like, it should have been a thing, that should have been fine, and then it wasn't fine. And, like, it never felt like a huge deal, like what we've talked about. Some people would just throw in the towel and give up and just be like, I'm done. It's not going to work. They said no, so.
I don't know. Some of your text messages kind of almost felt that way.
Oh, really? Because I didn't really feel that inside. I was just frustrated in the fact it's like, I just want this to be over with so I can move to the next step.
I get it.
So, no. It never felt, if that came off that way, I didn't mean for it to feel that way because it's not how I felt on the inside necessarily. Or I was frustrated and I was like, I know they work because you and I went over them and you're really good at numbers. And like, there's no way this doesn't work. Why is this being way more difficult than it needs to be?
Well, but I think you got a little bit of doubt crept in there. Like, well, oh crap, maybe this whole thing won't work out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was picking up on.
When I have less experience.
I'm curious on your end. I'm sure my next text was like, oh, well, call this guy.
Yeah, it was. And my response was, okay. And I just called him and I sent over my stuff and it looks like it's going to work out with him. So, yay.
And related to, how do you think sports prepared you for that?
Oh, sports kicks the crap out of you, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how many times I've messed up in sports and had to come back and find another way to make things work or get better or take losses in certain situations or, had coaches who've told me I'm not capable of certain things and so then I have to go prove them wrong. Or I told you about fundraising. I mean, how many times you get told no when you're trying to raise money for teams? Fundraising is the worst, but I mean, I don't know how many times in life I've been told no or you're not good enough or had your failures glaringly right there in front of you, and it's like, if you're going to play, I mean, you just got to keep chugging through them and move on to the next.
Well, fundraisers are a huge one for me that I think we look at in the wrong way. I mean, like, we know as adults, you're going to hear no 9 times before you get one yes.
Yeah.
So what do? We put kids out and we're like, oh, you need to go try to get somebody to raise this much money, right? Which sounds good in your mind. You're giving them a goal. But should we be flipping that around and saying, like, I want you to go get, 900 no's.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go ask for money, but I want you to get 900 no's. As opposed to saying, like, I want you to raise $1,000, I want you to go out and get 900 no's.
Yeah.
I mean, then you're less dejected by hearing no.
Yeah, because nobody ever talks about it in that context. But as you and I both know, and if you listen to literally anybody who's successful, they get a million no's before they finally get a yes or stuff kind of works and breaks through. Very rarely, if ever, do you have a situation where things just work.
Never does.
Never does. And so those people know that and work through the rejections and feed off the rejection almost. I mean, they're not worried about it at all.
You have to have, like, this crazy amount of belief that whatever you're doing is right.
Yeah. But, I mean, as a kid, you don't have that necessarily.
Well,
It's not just in you. And so if you're just like, oh, we're just going to go raise money and that's fine and it's great. Okay. You're not prepared. I mean, my dad straight up told me, he's like, you're going to hear way more no's than yeses. And you just gotta, eventually someone will tell you yes. But you have to have so many people tell you no. But eventually somebody will tell you yes.
Yeah, but even still in that situation, I mean, it seemed to such a negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with this kind of the way I was raised, I'm sure you were, and almost everybody was. I mean, we didn't want people to have to say no to us. We didn't want to have to say no to other people.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why people are so uncomfortable when Girl Scouts come around selling cookies. That and their cookies can be really good. But I mean, it's just one of those things where people don't want to have to say no, so they buy a box, and next thing you know, they bought from 50 different Girl Scouts or whatever, which is fine, but I mean, we've just been trained and programmed for basically doing yes. So when you see a kid, as they get a little bit older, especially in like their young teenage years in sports, have a challenge or something isn't just works for them. I mean, that player just, everything always was great for them, but now all of a sudden, the kids are getting better and all that stuff, and now they have this challenge, and you see them just quit. And some of them are good. All they needed to do was just work a little bit, hone their game a little bit, and they can't do it because the only thing they've ever known is, yes, everything just works.
Yeah.
And that's why I think sports in particular is key in being able to deal with life later on, because, I mean, it basically teaches you, like, no, you could do everything right, everything that you think is right, and it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of talked about it, some of the things that we've done where we're like, okay, this makes no sense. It shouldn't work. Let's just try and see what happens. And some of those worked. Some of those failed miserably.
Yeah.
But what was our negative side? Was it going to basically, we couldn't get this fixed, and so we're going to try this wild thing? If it doesn't work, it's still broken? Okay. What's my downside on that? Almost nothing.
Yeah.
I think it's a common thing. I tell you all the time, I'm like, what's the worst case scenario in this? They basically say no. I mean, whatever, you're still in the same spot.
Yeah. It's the truth. I mean, the worst that can be said is no. But you could have a yes and you could move forward and have something really great happen. Or learn something for the next go around. Who knows?
Sometimes you just got to go be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty good at that.
A little bit.
A little bit. Glad we have video BDM, so I'm like, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. You have anything else this week that you really we need to cover or whatever? mean, you tried a new roast recipe. That was awesome. Hope we get that figured out.
It was really good. Yes, we used Holy Cow's roast, which are amazing because they have so much flavor anyway. But I can't even remember the name of it. But there's like almost like a Hispanic sandwiches that use chipotle and adobo sauce, which is like a smoky, spicy taste almost to it.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were really good, and we put them in pitas.
Yeah.
Instead of on the French rolls.
Yeah, we butchered that recipe pretty bad, but we made it the way we wanted to make it.
Yeah.
But no, hopefully we'll be able to come back and perfect the recipe, and then maybe we'll be able to load it up. But I mean, it kept really well. It tastes really good. It was awesome meal prep.
I was actually surprised too with the juice that it didn't make the pitas like fall apart in there or anything.
Yeah.
Kind of worked perfect.
And then of course, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, with the Holy Cow roast in particular, it's so much flavor that I don't know if it's the roast or it's the seasonings and the stuff that we did to it. I'm assuming it's just a roast because every one we've had from there is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the seasonings and the flavor and everything that we put into it goes a long way. But if you were to take a store-bought roast and put it next to it, they just dry out so much worse from the store. Then, I mean, yeah, you can have all that flavor in there. And then it's fine. It tastes fine. But her roasts just somehow don't dry out.
Now I'm curious though. So I know with the grass-fed and finished beef, which is one of the major reasons why we try to cook as many recipes as we can with Holy Cow's beef. Is the roast better or worse in any of that kind of stuff? Because aren't they? I mean, there's a decent amount of fat count into that. Maybe not as much as a ribeye, but I mean, it's got a decent amount. Is it?
I mean,
it's gonna be better than tenderloin.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing more and more that you do need more healthy fats in your diet. And while you would look at animal fat as like, no, you shouldn't eat that, a lot of that has to do with the corn and stuff that's fed to them at the end. So if you're going more pasture raised or grass fed and finished, that fat no longer becomes unhealthy fat because you just don't have the omega-6s in it like you normally would.
Well, it goes the other way. It becomes healthy. It becomes a healthy fat.
You get omega-3s in it, which really reduces inflammation in the body.
I say that's what I understand is that basically on the grass-fed and finished beef, when it doesn't have the grain in it whatsoever, the fat is almost the part that you're really looking out for, which is funny because it's even harder to get because it's usually a leaner cow.
Yes. And if you do, I mean, it just kind of melts when it cooks anyway. Like when we make a roast in there, the fat kind of almost falls off. It kind of just like melts away. So
it should be cooking in there, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just was curious. I didn't know if it was better or worse for us than any other stuff.
Oh, it's way better.
Well, I mean,
as from a health perspective.
Well, I mean, we do the whole Holy Cow beef stuff, even though we may do ground beef or some kind of strip steak or some kind of other whatever steak in the roast. Which one would have the better fat count and stuff like that? The stuff we're looking for. Not counting a ribeye.
Probably the roast.
Okay.
Probably have the closest correct proportion.
Okay, so in that case, my vote is that we keep cooking with roast from Holy Cow Market.
Sure.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Vote?
That's okay.
Anybody gonna vote against me? I didn't think so. Okay.
Give you a vote.
No, there's too much good flavor. It's just amazingly good flavor. So.
Tangent and then bring it back around.
Yeah.
Have you have any glaring things from sports recently in your life as an adult that you feel like helped you?
Oh, I mean, like every day. I mean, it's just constant. I mean, for the most part, just dealing with people in general. I mean, as a teammate, I mean, the way I'm going to get the best out of the player when I was, playing on a team was to make sure that we were all good. I mean, if you don't like who you're playing with, you're not going to go the extra mile. I mean, that's the same thing at work. I mean, that's the same thing at, like when you're dealing with a frustrating situation, like my loan thing that we were talking about where they basically just misapplied my payment and they're just like, oh yeah, just make an extra payment now. Like, I mean, of course on my house payment, I can just make an extra payment. I mean, it's no big deal. It's not like we have budgeted prices and everything like that in our whole thing. So, I mean, that I could have gotten all kind of crazy and all frustrated about, but I'm just like, okay, well, I got to make it work. We'll figure out a way, get back and go, take the setback and go on. Yep. I mean, I didn't lose, before anybody goes crazy, I didn't lose out on the payment. They just applied 2 of my payments in 1 month to the same month. And now I'm behind on my payment. And it was stupid. But anyway, I mean, it's a situation that happens. Just like somebody drops a fly ball or somebody makes an error or somebody absolutely hits the exact perfect hole or whatever, and you're basically down. Find a way to win.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't change it.
and just so we're sure, I mean, it's not like we've talked about it plenty. I mean, winning isn't everything. I mean, I am fully rooting for everybody I'm playing against to beat me. I'm going to make it as hard as possible for you to do that, because I want to win too. But I really almost hope you win, except for maybe a few people.
There's always those couple.
There's always a couple in there, just a few.
Yeah.
Just a smidgen of a couple of them. You're just kind of like, no. I'm going to do whatever I can to beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they asked for it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy stuff. Yeah. Let's see here. You had some players that wanted to be on your team now. So that's what I'm hearing. That we're testing out some people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Always a difficult situation.
Lost a couple girls. Looking at a couple new. So one of those like, in the moment you're disappointed because you like the player and you're like, oh, what are we gonna do? But at the same time, it's like, all right, the right person is gonna come along and fill that hole. Hopefully, just try to find somebody who fits in, and who knows, might not be a perfect match this way around, but eventually we'll find the right combination.
No, I just died laughing because both me and you are just like, just give me somebody I can work with. Just give me somebody who wants to practice and get better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even care if they're not the best player. We're just trying to develop kids to the next level.
Yep.
Even if that next level isn't with us.
Yep. Kids that want to come and work hard and get better and
Yeah, just
have
try.
fun out there.
Yeah, just try.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can fail, but if you don't try, you're definitely going to fail.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing, especially too, like, players change so much as they get older too. Like, we've had a couple that were like, I just don't know that they've got the right attitude because they don't want to put in the effort at practice, and a couple of them have flipped a switch and changed.
Yeah, it's amazing how teenage years you kind of just change up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing. You get to that point where either you're going to work to be better or you're going to not.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you don't, the other kids are going to be working.
Yep.
And that's true in life.
Well, and that's easy too. Like, it's easy when you don't work at anything to just go, well, I'm just not good, or they're just better than me, and to quit. But like, you and I both have talked a lot about how we would go out and continue to practice. Like, I dragged my sisters out to the park and made them pitch wiffle balls to me every freaking day, and they hated it all the time, but I made them do it all the time because I liked hitting and I wanted to get better at it. And when you put in the effort and you see the results, you do see like, no, it does matter what I put in on the side. So anything I want to do in life, I have to put in the effort to get better at it.
That's true all the way around. If you don't, it's so crazy that we just automatically think that you're like good at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I can almost guarantee you, whoever it is that's good at basketball had to work at it.
Well, people think that about the best players out there in professional sports even.
Yeah.
Like, they don't work at it.
Oh, they work like crazy.
And, there's a level of being really good, but the people who are the best of the best work their butts off more than anybody else usually.
Yeah. No, it takes a lot of work and commitment.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing I always ran into is I just always liked playing. So, you don't realize how much you're working when you're doing that. But, we just wanted to play different games. We wanted to play different sports. And we were just we found ways to do that. So, it didn't matter if it was off-season we'd go do something over here. We'd go, we had a friend's house. We put in a sand volleyball pit in his backyard. And, we'd play sand volleyball. It was just, that's not even like a sport that we could play in high school. I'm sure they have it now, but they didn't have it then. And we just played because we wanted to play.
Or shoot, all the made-up games in sports and let's play
never.
with these weird rules or whatever that have the same movements and stuff that translates, but not even close to real sports that you would play. Had a few of those.
It's like when your kids are like, okay, we're going to do this. As you're adults, you're like, all right, let's bet on which bird flies off the fence. It's like the same thing, just, one age group to another. One's active, one's not active.
This is the best.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. We just do crazy stuff. All right, well, I don't have anything else. You?
No.
All right, well, thanks a lot. You guys have a good one. I'll see you later.
Thank you for watching. Kate and Nevada hope you've enjoyed this show and found it useful and empowering. If you have any questions or comments, please contact them at Kinetics.com. That's KNETICX.com. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And please write a review of the show. Kate and Nevada appreciate hearing the feedback, and they welcome your reviews, and your word of mouth will help others learn how to feel better and be better.